Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing my very first draft of the brand new MTG Foundations Format. Really cool set. It's the newest core set, so it's like 50% reprints, but it's actually going to be in standard for the next 5 years, so a great set to collect that's going to be legal in all formats on Arena for quite some time to come. But with that intro out of the way, let's just get into the pack one pick one here, see what this format ends up playing like in draft. We have a fun rare. I don't think this is actually that powerful and limited, though. It's just a good build around when you can actually build your whole deck around it in Constructed. Not really something you can draft around super well. But we have a couple really good uncommons, both of which are reprints. Vampire Nighthawk is incredible. It's super hard to race this because you're getting in the sky and gaining life over and over. And whenever you're on the defensive, you just trade it off with that Death Touch. There's also Overrun, though, which is a hilarious finisher in green. Your whole board gets +3/+3 trample. So I think both of those cards are incredibly powerful reprints, and it's one of those, depending on if you want to start in black or you want to start in green. And being brand new in the format, I don't know which color is really going to be more powerful more often yet, but that's probably a pick that can change based on your rankings of the individual colors. So pick 2, what do we have here? Got a Billowing Shriekmass for a black uncommon, a 4-mana 2/3 flyer. When it enters, you mill 3, and if you get 7 or more cards in your graveyard, then it is a 4/4 flyer. So really good for graveyard-dependent strategies like Reanimator stuff, or flashback cards, or if you have a bunch of cards with the Threshold ability, it helps with that as well. I don't think any of these other uncommons are super great. This Battlesong Berserker looks fine. Imprison in the Moon is mediocre blue removal. For the commons, though, this Big Fin Bouncer looks pretty impressive. 4 mana for a 3/2 and bounce a creature. There's also Prideful Parent, though, which is good at getting a wide board state pretty cheap. I think we could go for the Big Fin Bouncer there as the best off-color card, but Billowing Shriekmass looks like it could be fun. There are a lot of graveyard interested mechanics in the set. Flashback is in the set, Threshold is in the set, and there are Reanimator spells. So potentially doing some black self-mill stuff for now. Pick 3, there's a Tachiova here towards green-blue. If we had started in green, that'd be a pretty good spot to be. We can still take that, it's really early in the draft. We don't want to be completely married to our one color for now. Inspiration from Beyond kind of just seems okay. 3 mana to draw 1 instant or sorcery back from your grave is not that impressive, but if you really care about the mill, it could be good, and blue-black as an archetype is a Threshold archetype. That's going to be the most self-mill color pair in the format, so I guess that is a decent pickup here. It's also Heartfire Immolator, though, which I think is a really good efficient creature. 2 mana 2/2 Prowess is already a solid stat line up front, and you can turn this into a removal spell if you need to, sacrificing it to ping away an opposing creature. So I kind of like the Heartfire Immolator here. It also probably plays quite well in Rakdos. Rakdos is a sacrifice deck in almost every format, but in this it's technically a raid deck, which is just a really aggressive deck that gets triggers off of attacking the opponent. But I think it'll still play really well in Rakdos. It's a really aggressive card. Pick 4. Infestation Sage is the on-color creature. That doesn't seem great, nor do these red creatures. So we look towards the other colors. There's a decent removal spell in green. It actually plays really well with Death Touchers, like our Vampire Nighthawk, so Bite Down's kind of cool. There's that Inspiration from Beyond again. If we go blue-black, that is a good self-mill card. I guess the problem with it is that we do need to have enough instants and sorceries to pick up with it. Currently we have 0, so we will really need to draft around it. It's also Needletooth Pack, just a big creature, a 5 mana 4/5, maybe even comes with 2+1/+1 counters wherever you need them. Maybe go for some beef here. Green-black is a morbid color pair. Since black is really good at killing creatures, it's good at triggering all of the morbid cards. So the Needletooth Pack would fit well into a green-black deck. Pick 5. This Beastkin Ranger seems like a really nice filler common for any green deck. A 3 mana 3/3 trample that gets temporary buffs every time you play a creature. Just seems pretty nice. There's also the Dwynen. I think pretty much all the elves in the format are in green. There's probably a tiny bit in black, but most of them are mono green elves stuff. I don't think we take that super highly. And I'm not super pumped about any of these blue spells, so we'll just grab a Beastkin Ranger. Pick 6. Okay. This pack is really good. Dwynen's Elite, if you are a dedicated elf deck, a 2-mana 2/2 plus a 1/1 elf warrior is a really good deal. But obviously, if you don't have another elf on board, it's just a 2-mana 2/2, which is very mediocre. And it does look like black does have some elves, so black-green elves is a thing. But the Arbiter of Woe was incredibly impressive to me during the pre-release. So you can sacrifice a creature to cast this, and then you have a 5/4 flyer, and each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life, and you draw a card and gain 2 life. Just puts you very far ahead in card advantage, and by the time that you cast this, you're casting it for 6 mana. Your opponent's often at only 1 or 2 cards in hand, where you're making them discard something really good. I've been really impressed by Arbiter of Woe, and one of the best things that you can do with it is zombify it. The cast trigger is what makes you sacrifice a creature. If you zombify it and reanimate it from your grave, you don't have to spend anything to get it on the board. You don't have to sacrifice anything, I should say. You just get that excellent enter the battlefield trigger and your big flyer all in one. So the zombify, if we mill that with our Billowing Shriek Mass, or if it just trades off and then we can zombify it, that's really good as well. So just grab the zombify here. We're definitely playing black at this point, and Eaten Alive fits incredibly well into our deck. 5 mana to exile a creature or planeswalker, or only 1 mana if we have an expendable creature to sacrifice. And our second color is still wide open, because I think the strongest things going on in this deck are easily Arbiter of Woe, and Vampire Nighthawk. The Eaten Alive's pretty good removal. The Zombify is a really nice spell as well. I don't know about the Shriek Mass yet. Never played with the card before. But these cards together seem excellent. And we currently have 2 ways to sacrifice a creature. Now, Involuntary Employment is 4 mana to steal a creature till end of turn, so it's not going to be the cheapest way. So the fact that the ways that we have to sack our creatures aren't the cheapest is a problem. Like, spending 4 to steal something and then 6 to sack it, it's going to make it pretty hard to sack an opposing creature with the Arbiter of Woe. But the Eaten Alive is cheap enough. We could steal an opponent's creature with the Employment and then Eaten Alive it. And Rakdos is generally aggressive, so Goblin Surprise should be pretty good here. The other nice part about this is that flexibility of course, making the 2 Goblin tokens. We can use one of those Goblin tokens as sacrificial fodder for an Arbiter or something. So I'm pretty happy with this little Rakdos direction we found ourselves in. Looks pretty excellent, having that Arbiter of Woe, all this stuff. Well, if we can wheel the Inspiration from Beyond, there is a potential blue-black threshold deck if no one's taking these things. That seems more exciting to me than the Wary Thespian here. But we're still, once again, much more likely to be in Rakdos than anything else now. Getting these employments, having some sack cards, specifically the Eaten Alive being really good here. All right, pack 2, pick 1. 7 mana is a lot if you're not like a green-based ramp deck. This could be pretty difficult to hardcast, but we have a Zombify and a Billowing Shriek Mass to try to mill it. This might actually be viable in this deck. The issue is that it's in the same pack as another rare that's just always going to be really good. Blasphemous Edict. Just a 5 mana board wipe. So if we have this in our hand, obviously we hold off on our creatures a little bit, let our opponent overextend to the board, and then win the game by wrathing them and then dropping a bunch of stuff out. Wrath's always great and limited. I think we have to take Edith over Drakaseth. It's just going to be more consistent. Again, I think the Drakaseth would be viable in this deck, but it's not going to come back around, and the Edict is going to be more consistent. Ooh, let's go. Second copy of Vampire Nighthawk, don't mind if I do. The one sad part about this, I am taking it over a Burst Lightning. This is an insanely good removal spell. 1 mana, 2 damage is super efficient, and the kicker flexibility is fantastic being able to clear a bigger creature out later. I just think Nighthawk is so egregiously good. For its mana cost, I take that insanely highly. Pick 3. There's a Burglar Rat. There's a good sack outlet. The Reassembling Skeleton as well is a good card to sack. Also Goblin Negotiation. If you get to a really high mana cost, if you get super late in the game, this is a pretty good spell. Clear out an opposing threat and maybe get some goblins as well, but it's a lot of mana. You have to get really, really late in the game. I've had a couple opponents use this against me in our first sealed event that we did yesterday, and it was pretty bad each time because it was so slow. But we were also a pretty aggressive deck, so made it harder for our opponents to do that well. Oh, I mean, I only have like Eaten Alive. I don't think I have anything in the deck at least right now, where I'm really going to need to sack things over and over and over again. So just being able to sack a little 1/1 time is already good. And I really like the Burglar Rat enter the battlefield effect, so I'm going to take the Burglar Rat there. Pick 4, looks like green's pretty open. Scavenging Ooze and Llanowar Elves here. But it is only pick 4. It's possible multiple rares were open in this pack. But yeah, these cards are really good. I am only 3 cards deep into red. They are a little bit better than the green cards I've drafted so far, but technically I'm just as deep into green, and when we see these really good options, maybe we keep that direction open and just grab a Scavenging Ooze. This card's just nuts. Llanowar Elf's also very, very good, but probably not quite as good as the Scavenging Ooze. Really taking over the late game, gaining a ton of life, being a super massive threat. Pick 5. There's Slagstorm. I could be on double board wipe if I'm black-red. Rakdos Control instead of Rakdos Aggro? Be so weird. We would have a Blasphemous Edict and a Slagstorm. That's so funny. I feel like Affectionate Indrik and just go Golgari is the more consistent way to build this. But Slagstorm, like, how often you get to be Rakdos Control with 2 board wipes in the deck? Let's get goofy with it. I'm going to take the Slagstorm and see if we can do that thing. Maybe even get some Pyroclasms or something. Pick 6. 4 mana 5/2. When it enters, if you attack this turn, exile the top 2, choose 1, put it into your hand. Or no, until the end of the turn, you can play that card. At least it's until the end of your next turn, so you have a little bit of time to do it. Cobb Waltz, you have to discard a card for this thing, so it's not the greatest graveyard recursion. I mean, I think the best card's probably just Dwynen's Elite towards the green deck, but we'll grab this Raider, still have the black option open. There's the Eaten Alive to go with the Involuntary Employment. That should be pretty great. Yeah, that's a very easy pick out of this pack. Pick number 8, there's Bite Down for the green deck. I guess Crackling Cyclops survives Slagstorm. Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah, we're definitely supposed to just be like black-green morbid. A little bit of an elf theme here as well, taking the Bite Down working real great with the double Vampire Nighthawk, but let's just grab a Cyclops that can survive a Slagstorm and go for this absolute nonsense pile. Seems like it should be something unique that we aren't going to be able to do as often. At least get the goofy decks out of the way first here. We can start sweating later in the format when we get closer to the arena open and everything, then I can try hard. But yeah, Seismic Rupture, that's 3 board wipes in this deck now. Full control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 creatures, but we're not an aggro deck, so we don't really need the 15 to 17. I think we really just want more big finishers. Drakaseth actually ended up being something that would be insane in this deck, but obviously Drakaseth was never going to wheel, and this deck would not have turned into a control deck if we didn't grab Edict. If we grabbed Drakaseth, we might be like Gruul right now. Alright, we're trying to get really late into the game, and if we get super late, the Goblin Negotiation becomes a finisher. Fake Your Own Death is solid on like a Burglar Rat or a Heartfire Immolator. Whelp's good for a lot of non-creatures. I like both of them. Actually, probably take Whelp. Creature count's probably a little low for Make Your Own Death, or Fake Your Own Death. This deck seems very cool. Seems a little awkward. This Raider's really not that good in this deck, but we just took it over like a green speculation. Campus Guide, random filler that we would really hope to end up cutting by the end of the draft, but we've got a whole third pack to get better cards and end up cutting that. Pack 3, pick 1. Zombify copy number 2 to go with our Arbiter of Woe. We only have the 1 copy of Arbiter, which is a little sad, but this does not look like a super powerful bulk up deck for sure. This could be a good Hungry Ghoul deck, but we only have 1 involuntary employment. Yeah, we don't have a ton of sacrificial fodder of our own. This just makes our involuntary employment combo a little bit more consistent. I think we just go Zombify. Go big for the control deck. Let's go. Zombify a Rune-Scarred Demon? Sure. That's what we want, just more gigantic finishers, and that's an excellent one. Big flyer that picks up another massive spell to make sure we're really ending the game quick. Grab like a Goblin Negotiation or something alongside it. Boom, another Arbiter of Woe here. We're looking for the finishers. Take that over a Bacon to a Pie. I think I can take that over Bacon to a Pie. We have 2 Eaten Alive, so we have a Slagstorm and an Edict. And we have a Seismic Rupture for wipes. So we got 3 wipes, 2 removal spells. Employment could sack something to the Eaten Alive. 2 Nighthawks are basically removal as well on blocks. Yeah, I think we take the Arbiter. Pick 4, there's another Raider. I think the Raider looks pretty awkward in here, but I don't think Fake Your Own Death looks good in here either. It's super cute on like Burglar Rat and stuff, but we're just not going to be doing combat tricky stuff with our non-creature spells. Those slots are going to be full with all of our removal and board wipes. I mean, I'm so likely to just cut Strongbox Raider that maybe I just take a green speculation again. I've got 5 3-mana creatures that can attack. We could still Raider. But yeah, we could just end up like exiling a 6 or a 7 with that thing though, and then not being able to do anything with it. Okay. 5 mana, 5/3. When it enters, target creature opponent gets -1/-1, but if a creature died, it gets -13/-13 instead. Okay. I have 2 Arbiter of Woe and Rune-Scarred Demon and Goblin Negotiation. I don't think I want to stack in another Goblin Negotiation. It's really slow. I think we can take Tragic Banshee. This is like a really good Morbid trigger. It's kind of hard for our deck to trigger it, though. We'd have to, like, Chump Attack. Yeah, no. We'll go double Goblin Negotiation. Pick 6. What am I trying to say here? Oh, that the Morbid triggers, it's hard to trigger Morbid and have 5 mana up for a Morbid thing, because we kind of have to spend mana to sack our creatures for, like, Eaten Alive and stuff. Okay, I definitely don't want a Soar of Chaos, so maybe we can try Midnight Snack. Probably not. Like, we've got some creatures. I don't think this is going to be very consistent, though, because we're going to be doing a lot of blocks. But we're, like, definitely not playing Bolt Wave or Sure Strike. Rare draft a 1,000-Year Storm. Another Burglar Rat. A Reassembling Skeleton as well looks good. I think we go Burglar Rat. Come on in. Because once again, we don't really have any cards in our deck where we want to sacrifice a creature turn after turn after turn. We just have a couple cards that really need to sack a creature one time. Sol does not look good in this deck, but Lagax survives both of our red board wipes, so maybe that's interesting. Same with Cyclops. Surviving both our red board wipes does seem interesting. All the stuff that doesn't survive the wipes looks like our potential cuts here. I could just cut these 4, play the full non-creature stack, and call it a deck. Yeah, pretty controlling, low creature count, high curve Rakdos build. Very, very unconventional way to take this color pair, which is pretty cool. Because again, I don't think we're going to be able to do a deck like this too often, so I'm pretty excited about this one, but I think that's probably the build. We probably need to cut a gold vein pick here. Creature count's certainly low enough. Drop the gold vein pick to put one of those other creatures back into the deck. Another look-see here. What goes back in as the 40th playable? Do we have any discard? I don't think we did. We passed the Macabre Waltz and nobody ever passed them back. Maybe Goblin Surprise. We're never doing the +2/+0, but just 2 1/1s at instant speed can do some slightly tricky things. And we really need the expendable fodder to cast these Arbiters. Yeah, I'll put the Goblin Surprise back in. Instant speed 1/1s, if they're attacking with 3/1s, the card's really good. Or just, again, to get the little chumpers. Chump block and then sack the other one to the Arbiter in the late game. Yeah, full Rakdos control. It's going to be really interesting to see if this deck is any good, but without further ado, let's just hop into the gameplay and see how this deck does. All right, here we are on the play. This could be bad. If we miss land drops, we're having a super bad time, but Vampire Nighthawk's really, really good to start things off. The Goblin Negotiations can maybe give me a 1/1 Goblin for the Arbiter of Woe. Playing against Boros here, so Rakdos and Boros, 2 really aggressive color pairs, but nobody played a 2-mana creature. I don't think that's going to happen too often in this matchup. Banishing Light on the Nighthawk? Are they Boros control? Is this Rakdos control versus Boros control? Are we in absolute reverse world right now? We're doing really well on our draws. We hit a land almost every turn. I drew 1 Goblin Surprise and a couple lands. So still looking for more lands. One mountain would be perfect. No, no mountain for the Goblin Negotiation this turn. So sadly playing off curve here. Getting the Cyclops down and passing turn. Goblin Borders, a 4/3 body. Just big enough to attack into the Cyclops. It's a little rough. This is a sorcery. Kill the Borders. And then I can swing the whole team in. Don't get any goblins from that, but that's fine. I've got leftover goblins for the Arbiter already. Prideful Parent. Several blockers on the ground, but if we can get to Arbiter of Woe, that'll do plenty work in the sky. Looks like our opponent is mana screwed a little bit here, stuck on mana. Here's Arbiter. So they discard a card, we draw a card, they don't get to attack with the Angel anymore. We get to start jamming in the Arbiter. We're doing really good on lands towards our next Goblin Negotiation, actually giving us a whole board alongside it, which should be pretty nasty. Spitfire Lagak, another sturdy creature. Could assemble a whole board that survives all of our red board wipes. If we draw the black one, that's a little sad. Each player sacks 13 creatures. That's definitely uncastable right now. But the red board wipes would be pretty good. Never in a million years do they make this attack without something to buff and kill the Arbiter. So we'll just see if we can get them to spend the combat trick to kill the Cyclops. Sure. Yeah, so they did. They spent the 3 damage thing on Cyclops, and Arbiter remains. Ooh, this is going to be a big Goblin Negotiation. Yep, that Goblin Negotiation is going to give me plenty of blockers on the ground, so we just jam right in. By plenty, I mean a couple. But still enough to be worth sending in the 5. They could have the Destroy Target Tapped Creature spell. That only costs 2 mana. But then we get to Zombify the Arbiter, and that's not going to be great for our opponent either. Sure. Show me your combat trick. Going for the kill on Courageous Goblin, because if they get a power 4 or greater creature, it starts getting Menace, which is scary. The parent is just a 2/2 Vigilance at this point. It's already done its enter effect. Krenko Mob Boss. Well, I'm pretty happy I killed the Goblin. Double Zombify? Shoot. Please kill this Arbiter, I'm begging you. I mean, if they don't kill it, they die in 2 swings, so I guess that's fine too. Be surprised if nobody's played against, or if anybody watching has not played against Krenko before, but Krenko is a sweet reprint. You get a Goblin for every Goblin you control, so even if you only have Krenko on board, you get 1 Goblin the first time you tap him. Next time you get 2 Goblins, then you get 4 Goblins, then you get 8 Goblins. Obviously, the kind of card that really takes over the game if he is not dealt with. So if they can exile Arbiter of Woe, we will probably die to Krenko eventually. But if they just destroy Arbiter of Woe, we've got double Zombify, and now we drew the second Arbiter, which is sick. I love this card. Arbiter of Woe is probably going to be one of my most drafted uncommons by the end of the format. As is Vampire Nighthawk. I could see myself drafting black a lot. I already love Vampire Nighthawk from previous formats that it was in, and this Arbiter thing has been so impressive to me. This time around. Ooh! Okay, try to go for a cheeky Krenko kill here. If they have double Goblin Surprise in their hand, then that's just oops, I die. So let's hope they don't. Because I think we played this out as good as we could. Yeah, that's double Goblin Surprise. Oops, we're dead. 3 times 5, 15, plus 3. Yeah, it's 18 damage if they had double Goblin Surprise alongside the Krenko. No? Okay. I thought for sure I was dead when I saw that just all attack there. But I guess they didn't really have another line. They were facing a ton of flying damage, so might as well see if you can cheese in lethal somehow. Scary game to start it off. It was a victory in the end, but technically we were on like the razor's edge of defeat there. If they had anything that buffed the whole board, like the Goblin Surprise we already saw that they were running, we would have been dead there. Game number 2. This hand is much safer to keep. We actually have a curve out here, 2, 3, 4, and then the 6 drop. Now I have a better 3 drop to play. Ooh, Seer Slicer Goblin. I will trade into that thing if they don't kill my Heartfire Immolator, because every turn where they've attacked, they get a 1/1 Goblin. There's the Heir Apparent. Let's hope they didn't get a full play set of that either. I'm tempted to just sack the Immolator to kill that, but I'm going to play the Nighthawk. Feels like curving out is better, where I get to play the Nighthawk and then I can play Cyclops and sack and kill one of their creatures next turn. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. Yeah, now they get the Goblin for sure. Man. Yeah, this is quite the curve out to the point where I think I'm on trades here. No, because Savior doesn't attack in well. Yeah, we have to just take 3. They get a 1/1. Oh my god. What a draw. Now I don't have to play Cyclops. Cyclops might still actually be better, though. Because I only need 1 Nighthawk to bounce the Savior off. Yeah, I'm just gonna play Cyclops to bounce the Heir Apparent away, and I'm gonna kill this while they're tapped out. Obviously, we're on the defensive here. We're just using everybody as blockers. We are the control deck playing the long game. Pretty happy that's out of the way before we draw any Zombifies, because that could be bad in the future. Try to break through that, opponent. Oh my god, I was joking. Alright, Heroic Reinforcements is another busted reprint. That card was nigh unbeatable, and probably still is. Oh boy. I mean, I gained 4. I'm at essentially 21. What if I just kill some creatures without losing anybody? If I don't want to lose anybody here. I gain 4. I'm at 21. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 21 take 12? That's such a winning board. They're on top decks already. No, we're so fine. Actually. Yeah, 21 take 12, that's 9. Oh! Well, now I wish I traded in the bigger creatures because I can kill everything else. I guess I can block and kill everybody else here. Yeah, this is an instant? No, it's a sorcery. Dang it. Dang it. If it's a sorcery, you probably have to jam out the Lagak. Alright, we're like a million cards ahead here. As long as they don't draw like another Heroic Reinforcements, I think we are golden. I'm gonna have to sack a Crackling Cyclops to the Arbiter of Woe. Sure, trick away my Lagak. Oh, Raider away the Lagak? Sure, you got it. Hey! Look who's here. I don't know if this is the right play. But I could kill the Savior, get a 1/1 Goblin, and then I have a Goblin to sack the Avatar instead of having to sack a Cyclops. I don't know, I think leaving that removal spell around is pretty good. So I will. I mean, just negotiating their flyer would put them in a pretty rough position. Firebrand. They could trade Fanatical Firebrand and Angel of Finality into Arbiter of Woe, which I think is just a good trade for me, and then obviously makes any Zombifies that I draw really good. I think we send. Yeah, this is a really good trade for me, because then we just start jamming the Nighthawks in and gaining a million. They're down 2 creatures for that, and now my Zombifies are super live. It's the Shriek Mass. Cool. Rupture, and then this is a 4/4. I'm still going to greed out the Rupture, because I can just cast Goblin Negotiation next turn before combat, and it'll also still be a 4/4 that way. Alright, we're going to negotiate that, because that can be pretty explosive, buffing the whole board. Gaining 4 a turn. I'll take it. Chump with a Goblin next turn. Hello. That's a live draw, but I still want to get my Goblins and attack for a bajillion. Down to 7. They're insanely dead next turn. Let's draw another card, put them to 5. Pass. Hello, Drakaseth. You're a turn too late there. Walked the 5-4 and died everybody else. Might as well make it insanely lethal just in case I'm super bad at math. Whee! That is 2-0 heading into game number 3. Well, obviously want to draw some removal here, but we know the whole win con here is going to be sack a rat to an Arbiter, zombify an Arbiter later. Playing against Rule, probably pretty aggressive. Don't love being on the draw here, but can't control that. They're going to be playing a 4-drop on us while we have 2 lands on board. When you're on the draw against Mana Dorks, that is extra rough. Because Ruby's adding red or green. Ruby also gets buffed if they have a power 4 or greater creature. That is the red-green archetype in the format. It's about power 4 or greater creatures. So we're really going to need to draw some efficient removal. So Vampire Nighthawks are our best draws. But any of our other three mana creatures, our Cyclops would also be okay. Eaten Alive would be pretty huge. I could see, if we top deck an Eaten Alive, I could see a position where we just Eaten Alive, sack the Burglar Rat, get ready to zombify a Burglar Rat next turn. Because again, we just need to buy time in this deck. Even if we have to spend some of our best spells on just getting like a rat back, if it buys us time to make it to that very important 6 mana or like 7 mana plus Goblin Negotiation, then it's worth it. We really just need to survive. Ooh, alright. Really love our opponent's choice of plays here. They have a tap land, so they just have to play a Goldvein pick and not even be able to hit with it right now because they have to tap Ruby to equip it. Yeah, that gives us some more time. Unfortunately, with that time, we top deck a land. That's all. None of our 3-drops this game. They are red, green, and white. Ruby with a Goldvein pick on her is kind of funny because it's a little bit awkward for our opponent where they could be tapping Ruby for mana or they could hit us and get the treasure and use that treasure for mana, but they can't do both. They can't get 2 mana out of this Ruby, which is what they really want, to get a mana out of Ruby and a mana out of the pick. Pretty happy with the discard we forced out of them. Now they don't have a Trampler to go with the Goldvein pick. Alright, Firebrand the Burglar Rat to guarantee the treasure token. Fair enough. We'll probably have to zombify Burglar Rat next turn, but that's actually kind of good against 1 card in our opponent's hand. Sadly, they've already played the bomb, the Arabo. Okay. Now we take 6, go to 11, then we Goblin Negotiation Arabo and get a 1/1 to trump the cat. Then we Arbiter the turn after that. It's not a great position, but it's good enough if they top deck a land to survive till 6 mana. That is way better than a land. Oh my god, now I have to Goblin Negotiation that instead, which is really bad. Oh. We win. These Arbiter Woes are kind of stuck in our hand now until we can Goblin Negotiation something, though. But that is by far our best play. Please draw a better creature than Helpful Hunter. Alright, well, I have 2 really important Arbiter Woes. I can't not negotiate with the cat. Oh my god, are we the villains? Look at this thing. Those eyes. And here come the goblins just stomping it out. Oh no. I think we're the villains today. Solid card. Especially if we get 3 more attackers, but trades into an Arbiter, and the Arbiter draws a card when we play it, so we are really ahead with 2 Arbiters in hand. It's nice if they, like, draw another Arabo or something. Spit out 2 cheap creatures. Snap trade. Ooh, we actually make them discard a card? I think I'd do this pre-combat, because if their hand is like a flash 4/2 or something, and they play it and kill the goblin token off an attack, that is miserable. Alright, well, we made them discard a mountain. Let's go. Alright. They're top decking. They're dead in 3 swings, thanks to the Vampire Nighthawk draw. Actually, probably already were dead to just 3 swings because of the Crackling Cyclops. Elvish Regrower. Oh, that's a really good draw. Pick up a Rabo with that, probably. And then our Seismic Rupture's live. They get any permanent they want from their graveyard back to their hand. It's going to be the Vindicator. Alright, well, Seismic Rupture's live. Boop. And there's the concession from our opponent. Rakdos Control does it again, and we are 3-0. At least a 50-50 record out of this really unconventional deck, so that is a sweet spot to be. So we head into game number 4. Alright, game number 4. So keep, we got both our colors. We got a little rat and a Lagak as our blockers. Lagak's a little late, 4 mana. We definitely don't really want double Arbiter of Woe in our opening hands. Those are cards we want to top deck later, but with good mana, I don't think this is worth a mulligan. Uh-oh. Mischievous Mystic can really take over the game. A 2/1 flyer, and every time they draw a second card in their turn, they get a 1/1 flyer. So if they manage to draft a bunch of card draw, we are so dead, because we don't have the cheap removal for that. Oh my god! Mischievous Mystic into Phyrexian Arena? GG. Unless we draw one of our board wipes. That's a guaranteed extra 1/1 every turn. That's an extra card draw every turn. In terms of just card advantage already being really out of our favor here. Oh my god, and the Wizard too. Phyrexian Arena seems like unbeatable in this archetype. This is so bad for us. At least the Nighthawk holds off the flyers here, because they definitely don't send Mystic into it. They're going to need to spend removal here, and then maybe we can Zombify Nighthawk. Double Arbiter of Woe in hand. We're still probably on the try to grind it out for the long game, so just stop that damage and then Zombify the Nighthawk. Ah, the counter spell though, yeah. Now they don't have the counter for the Arbiter of Woe. But again, I mean, like, even with Arbiter value, that's never gonna compete with Phyrexian Arena amounts of card advantage. Just get Phyrexian Arena bad, because we're playing Rakdos, and obviously Rakdos can't blow up enchantments. This is just a horrible matchup for this deck. That's a horrible draw. Double refute? Dang, my god, alright. Well-drafted opponent, their deck is insane. I don't even know what this does, but we're so dead. Makes ninjas, makes their creatures unblockable, draws a card, discards a card. Yeah, that's mega bad. Gets loyalty every time a creature hits, so it gets to the ultimate. Whenever you cast a spell, make a ninja. Why not? I mean, we already lost. Alright. I don't think it's really possible to hit a worse matchup than that. So, 3-1. But probably got the worst matchup of the draft out of the way there. Not only is their deck just insane up front, it's also just like perfectly paired to beat ours because we have nothing in our color pair that can do anything about Phyrexian Arena. So 3-1 heading into game 5. Alright, well, we obviously really hope our opponent's aggressive with this hand, but the mana's solid. Oh, where did this? There's an Amonkhet cat pet on Arena? That's super cool. It's like a big cat, like a panther or a lion or something. I don't know cats. Alright, here we go. Healer's Hawk starting things off. Alright, they are pretty aggressive. Rupture doesn't do anything about that, but Edict does. I can see a world where we have to Employment and Eaten Alive as well. I'll play Cyclops into the Edict. We have no guarantee we're going to hit 2 land drops in a row after this, and if we don't, we're going to need some blockers. Axe Guard Cavalry. If I Employment that, I have the Edict mana ready. But then I can't Employment Eaten Alive later, but that's fine because I'll have 2 Eaten Alives left after a Blasphemous Edict. And a Seismic Rupture left over. Yeah, I'm going to lock in the Edict mana by getting my treasure token here. Could alternatively cast an Eaten Alive here, kill the Cavalry and the Healer's Hawk, but it seems pretty bad with 2 board wipes in hand. Helpful Hunter, draw a card. I want you to be empty-handed when I board wipe. 2-drop creature. 2-drop creature. Nope. Well, maybe post-combat. Gold Vein Pick, that's not a creature. Oh. Well. That's a pass. Really hope the hand is just a bunch of creatures and not removal spells over there to maximize our board wipe value. Dragon Trainer and get a 4/4 flyer. Alright, boom. That is board wipe time. Arbiter with no creatures left is going to be awkward. I can't afford to just play it here, though. Yeah, and then I would just be edicting it away soon anyway. Guarded Air. A new board, and they're 3? No! Why are they just out of reach of Rupture? Gross. Well, really good after a board wipe, this thing. Just a fresh, new, full board. $12 life? I'm just gonna have to manually eat alive these 3/3s. Don't got much else. Because each 3/3 is threatening to attack as a 4/4 with Gold Vein Pick. No more creatures from them yet. Cyclops, they've got 5 power on the board. We block 1, play an Arbiter. That's 7 power on board. That's super bad. Oh my god, they can even move it. Wait, no, they can't. It would be a 3 power first striker and a... Oh my god. Wow. Alright. Yeah. Guarded Air by far the MVP of the game. If this was just any single creature, we win so quick. But I mega lose right now. First strike means the Nighthawk doesn't even do it. I'm 1 mana off from hardcasting Eaten Alive. I have to sack Nighthawk. Wow, this sucks. I have to sack Nighthawk to kill the token. Because otherwise I'm just trumping the token. I'm completely on top decks. Oh, man. I feel like we were just like 1 mana or 1 card off from actually doing like good versions of these plays instead of like having to sack Nighthawk here and stuff like that. It was like so close to stable. Obviously the life totals are very far apart, but once you resolve an Arbiter, that gets the card advantage so far in your favor. And helps a bit with the life totals. Hilarious. Might as well. 3 and 2 heading into game 6. Here we are for game 6. This is a really bad opener. 3 of our most expensive spells. And just 1 Immolator and only 1 color of mana. It's about as close to a forced mulligan as you can get without technically being forced. Can I keep a 3-land opening hand with a 4 and a 6? I think so. I think I ditch a swamp here. Our opponent has the same cat thing. Is that in the Mastery Pass or something? Because there's like some Almond Cat artworks in the format. Yeah, this must be like a new pet. It's very cool. Got the Zombify Arbiter combo. Actually, Zombify Shriek Mask could be good. Because Shriek Mask could hit our Arbiter or our big Rune Scarred Demon. We've never drawn the Rune Scarred Demon yet. We make them discard a 4-drop? Sure. Oh no, that's not going to work how you want it, opponent. GG, we win. I don't think I offer trade. I still have reasons to sack the rat later. Yeah, our deck's really good in the mirror match. Anybody playing Burglar Rats against this is going to get real sad. Alright, opponent seems to have AFK'd their turn away. We're just going to do our thing. Here's our incredible enter trigger. They discard a card, we draw a card. The life drain really doesn't matter when we're each at 20 right now, but the card advantage is huge. discard Goblin Negotiation. It really is a mirror match. They're playing the really slow controlling version of the color pair too. Maybe. Or maybe they're just playing Goblin Negotiation in an aggressive deck. Man, our opponent is fighting for their life over there against the rope. Must be playing on some like bad internet or something. Fiery Annihilation. Tragic that it exiles. Lagak attack. We're not going to be close to threshold for the Shriek Mass yet. Vampire Gourmand, what on earth do you do? Wow, that's actually very good. When it attacks, sack the Burglar Rat, draw a card, and it can't be blocked. Slagstorm would be pretty great right now, but I don't have double red. Blasphemous Edict is pretty bad right now. Yeah, Gourmand is awesome. Seems like a really good sack outlet. Well, milled a couple non-mountains and one mountain. The Light Priest. Sack the rat, right? No sack the rat? Gonna combat trick my Shriek Mass? Go for it. It dies to Slagstorm anyway, and I would like to Slagstorm your board. Oh. Wow. Well, that sucks. Again, still early in the format, so I'm going to get got pretty hard by the combat tricks this first week. Once I start remembering that fake your own death is the black combat trick, I think we go for the Gourmand block there, because they fake your own death there, it's not that bad. Fake your own death on the Burglar Rat is really gross, though. Yep, just draw their card off the Burglar Rat. Crypt Feaster, 3/4 Menace is perfectly fine. 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If they don't block, they die. I think I go for it, because we're definitely not dead on the crackback. And if Burglar Rat dies for nothing, that's kind of fine right now. And the only way that Burglar Rat dies for nothing is if they specifically block Burglar Rat with a 3/4. Feels like one of their least likely blocks, because they could just bounce 3/4s instead. Good enough for me. Nom nom nom. This is going to be really funny. We're actually going to end up just doing the 3 to a player with Slagstorm to end this game. Didn't think this deck would ever want to use that part of the ability, but that might be where we're at. Another Gourmand. Sack a Gourmand to a Gourmand. Do it. Cannibalism. Everybody loves it. Here's a ping. They don't block, they're dead. They do, I just trade Lagak for Gourmand, though, which is not great. Because now I can just top deck a land and then they're dead. If I still have Lagak on the board. That's probably bad for me. Beginning of your end step, if you attacked, return a creature that have less than or equal to a luscious power. Okay, they didn't attack, so we're fine. Doesn't matter. 3 to each player. Boop. And that is 4 and 2 now. A positive record with this deck, no matter what happens from here. And at 4 wins, we get 1,400 gems back out. So basically the break-even point heading into round 7. All right, decent control hand here. On the draw, not starting till turn 3. This could be a little bit of an issue. We'll see. Oh no, draw my 7-drop? I already have a 7-drop. It's Goblin Negotiation. I don't want to see any more of that. I want to see the sack a creature, exile a creature card. God, this format's going to have a frustrating amount of Boros, isn't it? 3rd Boros deck of the day, I think. It's a good matchup, but we have to draw our board wipes for it to be a good matchup. So if I don't draw my board wipes, we just die. Heroic Reinforcements is like one of the dumbest cards ever, so maybe we just die. That's obviously hyperbole, but Heroic Reinforcements is absurdly good in draft. We're already down to 10. We have 3 board wipes in the deck. If we draw any of them, we just win this game handily. And that's our whole game plan. Whatever I cast here is basically just playing 1 blocker. Legak to block the cavalry, Negotiation to kill the cavalry, Negotiation to kill a 1/1 and get 1/1/1. I hate this. This game is stress incarnate. Yeah, this format seems like it will be pretty aggressive generally. Every Boros deck we've played against has seemed very strong. Oh, that draw. I can't not kill the goblin or I'm not literally dead, but I go to 1 life. I can't be missing land drops in this matchup. That is just the death of me. We like super win hitting every land on curve, but these missed lands could be our death. We're so close. We're so close. Hold. Everybody hold. I have nothing to zombify right now. Oh! No! Oh my god, I have to chump and then I have nothing to sack for the Arbiter, dude. And they top deck the Abrade? Wow. Alright, well, today's losses felt brutal. I still think this deck's pretty dang good. These losses were just so unwinnable, though. Just insane Boros curves into perfect draws from there. Plus, we had the stumble to lose. Even if they drew exactly like they did here, if we just hit our lands on curve, I think we still win this game. Because we actually would have zombified like an 0-4 by now. At least we would have had blockers here. We would have more time. Man, yeah. Not a great feeling today for the format. These Boros decks going so crazy. Even with the deck with these multiple board wipes, but I mean, we didn't draw any board wipes that game. That would be another way we could have won. Any of our board wipes would have won that. I guess not the 5-mana one, but the Slagstorm or the Rupture also could have won that game for us. Man, I would have loved the trophy with this one. I thought this deck was very, very fun and very strong. The Arbiters were a little awkward in here, obviously, because we have a bit of a lower creature count, but that's why we're running the Goblin Surprise, and of course the Burglar Rats, and I think those played really, really well with the Arbiters, so I'm happy with that. I think the Arbiter is just so good late game, it was still worth running with the lower creature count. But the Goblin Negotiations also worked really well with it if we could cast one of these first and then the Arbiter. Yeah, I think overall I'm really, really happy with this deck. I don't think there's anything I would do massively different with the way I built it. Maybe the employment eaten alive thing was a little inconsistent, a little goofy, and it would be better to just play another random 2/1 just to be sacrificable to the Arbiter of Woe. But I think for the most part, all of our losses were just really, really good decks and curve outs from our opponent. And even then, they were technically kind of close. Obviously, life totals are never going to look close when one player's control and the other's aggro, because the way these games go is that the control player is just going to take damage and never hit the opponent until they win the game. So unless you win the game, it's going to be like 20-2 when you're the control player and your opponent is uh, the aggro player. But I think despite the life total differential, the games were actually quite close, like a single land draw or extra removal draw or like board wipe draw from winning two of our losses. The losses against more aggressive like Boros decks. Our loss against blue-black, I mean, that's going to be a matchup that can destroy this deck every time, even if we draw really well, because the Phyrexian Arena is just not a card that we have any interaction for, and it sets our opponent up to have the card advantage for the long game, which is like the whole point of playing a control deck. So when you're going to be behind in card advantage throughout the game, no matter what you do, and you can't blow up the Phyrexian Arena, then you're just going to lose that matchup. So I think that that blue-black loss would be a loss every time, but we just needed to get slightly luckier, maybe play slightly tighter, and we could have maybe beaten those Boros decks. Just got a little bit rough variance for the deck. It was a really fun draft, though. This deck is cool. This is a cool deck. I'm happy I went down the direction I did, even if we might have gotten a slightly more positive record out of a Golgari deck, because it would have been a little more consistent. This was a really, really fun archetype to show off, something that I think isn't going to come together too often, but when it does, it is a lot of fun and very unique. So Rakdos control we did, and we got a nice, solid 4-3 run. Again, not bad at all for an archetype that is not supported in the set at all. In terms of like what Wizards wants you to do. Wizards wants you to play Rakdos Raid aggro. Raid attack. So basically the polar opposite of what our deck is doing is what Rakdos is generally supposed to do. You attack over and over again and trigger all your raid triggers every turn. So yeah, this was a very, very unique, very off-the-wall deck and a really fun draft today, even if it didn't quite reach the heights I think the deck was capable of. And despite us like winning half of our Boros matches and losing the other half, I am very worried about the power of Boros aggro in this format, because I think that our deck actually has a really good matchup against Boros when we draw the board wipes. So when I'm playing almost any other archetype, I don't know how I ever win any of those 4 Boros matchups that we ran up against, because every time they had really scary stuff. So I'm a little worried about the format as a whole, but it's incredibly early. This was my first draft ever, but one thing I'm noticing, Boros is dumb. The Heroic Reinforcements is a really good card, and there's tons of great aggressive creatures in the color pair, and tons of great cheap removal like Burst Lightning and stuff. So I'm a little concerned about what that means for the format with the amount of Boros that we saw and how powerful that Boros was, but also a little bit excited about what this means for the format, that we managed to build a black-red deck that is not doing anything like what black-red is supposed to do. So we gained some here, a little excited about being able to build some kind of off-the-wall strategies in your color pairs, and also a little nervous, a little worried here that maybe the aggro decks are just so good that that's kind of the only viable strategy. We'll see how things shape up for the format. It's still day 1 while I'm recording this video, day 2 when it goes live. There's plenty more to be learned and explored in the set, so I'll be doing that over the coming days, but as for now, that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members very much for their support, as well as you just for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.